Hello fellow crafters and welcome to MaxDM Crafting. The empty room, the empty shelves on my back are what remains of MaxDM Crafting studio. You know, the move of my apartment is going on and it's quite a difficult moment to find the right time, the right inspiration and go to the bench and work to my projects. Ziterdes, that you can find in the description box below, challenged me to make a sci-fi diorama with some, oriental pieces that they sent to me. I accepted the challenge and this is how I create a Tatooine diorama. Buckle up, because this is a great crafting journey. Crack on! This project fits perfectly into the series of my sci-fi terrains, but has a different energy. Ziterdes oriental pieces offer a decidedly desert-oriented inspiration. Ziterdes, whom I thank for the trust placed in me, did not sponsor this video. They sent me their pieces and asked me to convert them into a futuristic style. I mean, looking at them, it is impossible not to connect them to the Star Wars universe. The planet of Tatooine, with the spaceport of Mos Eisley, was recently also highlighted by the Mandalorian series and right now by the series The Book of Boba Fett. It therefore seems to me the best time to let myself go in a project that recalls those settings. Observing the architecture of Tatooine civilization, you can see small houses with one of two floors, often with a circular base or surmounted by domes. The whole is quite clean. The lines are rather soft but extremely clear. The architecture is absolutely consistent. The sci-fi elements are accessories to the main constructions, even if occasionally we find structures of a different nature, more industrial. Having available some polystyrene balls, the ones that can be used for Christmas balls or other night jobs, I thought of cutting them in half with the Proxxon and using them as domes on a couple of buildings. Using scraps of XPS foam, I created a round arch, and thanks to the graphics medium chipboard, I created a main entrance with a decidedly sci-fi feel. To the whole, I added some pieces of MDF coming from old sprues. They will serve as a support for an O-wing. In Mos Eisley, you can see a lot of them. Notice here the Landspeeder model I made in a previous video. It will be an important final detail on this diorama. As you can see, I didn't plan anything. I followed my personal taste and aesthetic sense to best assemble my modification with the original Ziterdes pieces. Anyway, find the link to the Ziterdes site in the description box below this video. After several attempts, I have reached this state of the art. We are still a long way from the final appearance, but in my mind, everything has started to go together. So guys, this is the state of the things now. This diorama is parked here and it's quite difficult to find the right inspiration for proceed and finish this beauty. Why? Because MaxDM Crafting Studio is like my shelter, is my cave, is a place, in a happy place where I can find my, relaxed time, chill out in the peaceful moment of my day. Now with the studio like this and with the moving of the house going on, it's very difficult to find the right mind to do that, okay? Nevertheless, I want to continue this and I will finish it before we close definitely this room. I say this room because MaxDM Crafting is not going anywhere. There is a strange concept here. I always work in the mess. It's always messy in the studio, okay? But it is my mess. It's something that I need for creating. I need for having everything at my hand. And then I like very much put everything in order at the end of the journey. And when I finish my, dioramas and stuff. But now this is a mess that is totally strange to me and doesn't help at all my creative process. So it's very, very difficult. In this moment, discipline must be stronger than passion. So I want to put myself on the bench and we will finish this no matter what. Okay? So crack on! The part that I found more difficult due to the lack of planning was arranging the pieces on the base. Finding the balance between buildings and occupied space was no joke, and in the end it also forced me to cut the launch platform and transform it into an access point for a power plant.
When I was satisfied with the general appearance, I glued everything with a good dose of PVA glue. The elongated buttresses of the buildings are a decidedly characteristic feature of Tatooine's architecture. This is why such an element could not be missing at all. Once I cut out the buttress with my Proxxon, I decided to place them directly on two of the buildings, leaving the discarded pieces of the launch pad for the third. Again, no plan, just instinct. 90% of this project is based on the pieces and the small bits that the guys from Ziterde sent me. As you can see, there is a lot of fun. Once all the main structures were placed, I created a mix with Mod Podge, acrylic warm grey paint and baking soda. This will give texture, color and resistance to the entire diorama. A special type of primer. To prevent the MDF base from bending during the drying time, I loaded the entire piece with weights. Finally, I placed some toilet paper soaked in PVA glue to make the awning. Drying time. Observing the landscapes of Mos Eisley, you can see vertical metal structures, namely antennas, converters, and more. The advantage of working in a laboratory is that I have access to a lot of waste material, old expired kits, tips used with washing solutions, and other recyclable stuff, ideal for my purpose. I applied a quick coat of dark brown acrylic primer before proceeding to paint it all. I mainly used Meyer brush, especially to get a good blending effect and give the whole a uniform appearance. The light and materials on Tatooine are very particular. It is a planet illuminated by two suns, arid, where time and sand have corroded and eaten up most of the metal parts. Everything has a decidedly dystopian aspect, yet extremely coherent and uniform. The dry brush allowed me to bring to light the last details. Fun! Okay guys, that's it for today. With this video I officially close another big chapter of this channel. The next project you will see will be something made in my next location, as long as I can find one. Wish me luck, and if you want me to continue making these videos, please consider to support the channel on Patreon. Share, like and subscribe, and till next time, happy crafting!